Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are continuing our study circle on the Sutra Vahini. This is the comments and explanation given by Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba on Brahma Sutras. This is one of the three main scriptures we call Prasthanatrayam. This Bhagavad Gita and then Upanishads and Brahma Sutras. These are important guides for all spiritual seekers. Some of the things we'll be repeating. This is called Punarukti in scriptures and in spiritual discussions. Always we repeat, even the japa, anything repeat. So it sinks into our hearts. That is the reason. And sometimes these are very, some could be abstract. So we need to repeat and repeat so that it sinks into us. So we are going to start. It is different in different things. In the PDF thing, it is page number 20, the one which you received in your email. Look at it if you are looking at the soft copy. If you have a printed copy, it could be varying. It could be page 25 or 26 or page 35. So because there are different editions, so depending upon whatever you have. But you have been attending regularly, or you can go to the online, you can see that. So we are going to start with the theme, God, the Supreme Maker, Master of the Universe. In this, it's very important that we need to know the continuity. So what was the first Brahma Sutra? Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Because the whole Brahma Sutras are about knowledge of Brahman, the highest, Atma Vidya, highest knowledge, knowing which there is nothing else to be known. That is the source of everything. So for that, in the first sutra, they said, hey, you want to have it good, that is the highest, but you need to have certain credentials, certain qualifications. After this, you can start the thing. That is what the first sutra, Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Then he talks about the nature of the Brahman. So the four important thing is, again, Vivekam, that is discrimination, fundamental discrimination between the real and the unreal. And then Vairagyam, detachment from the unreal and attachment to the real. That means attachment to God and detachment from the illusory world. And third is Shama, Damadi, Shat Sampatti. 6 good virtues all of us need to have. So that is why Swami says, moral character is very important for a spiritual seeker. Shama is control of the mind. Dhamma is control of the body and senses. Uparati is withdrawal of from the external environment. Third is titiksha, very important quality, forbearance. Even Shri Baba used to call it saburi. So titiksha is forbearance, is very important. Then shraddha, there is also faith. That is what Shri Baba used to call nishtha. Nishtha and saburi. So titiksha and shraddha. So Swami also said to be connected to God, faith and love are important. And finally, the samadhana. That means to be able to see God in everything. So these are the 6 qualities you need to have. Then after that, the fourth, the most important thing is mumukshvatva, the hunger for knowing the truth, spiritual hunger, the intense longing to know the truth or God. So just you have to be as Swami Vivekananda used to call Grahavishta Buddhi, as if you are possessed by the Graha. When you are possessed, that's all you think about. You think about God, talk about God, eat God, drink God, breathe God, live in God. So that is that kind of thing you should do. So these are the qualifications you talk about. And this is the knowledge of Brahman. And then the second thing we started, the second sutra, Janmadasya Yataha. That means, what is all this we see? But we are living in the practical world. We are always not in touch with Brahman, which we are not able to see. So that is why even in the Lalsa, it's Adrushya, Drushyarahita. This whole thing is, what you see is really doesn't exist. That's what Swami says. Iddi kaladanu chuntimo, adi ledu. Iddi ledanu chuntimo, adi kaladu. What exists is the Brahman. But we are seeing this Nama Rupa, this is the thing. So that is beautifully explained in the scriptures. The example you can take is the gold. Brahman is gold. So it is all there. But what can you do with gold? From the gold, you make jewels, right? Various jewels, anklets, bracelets, necklace, everything. That people enjoy, they wear and get. So this whole creation which came out is compared to the jewels. But we are so caught up in the jewels, forget the gold. When somebody shows the jewel, these are very nice. But what is there in the jewels is the gold. So try to remember what you are seeing is really, even though you enjoy jewels, think that is what is there is gold. Similarly, the whole creation, the name and form, we really get involved. But remember that underneath is the whole Brahman. So nobody is denying what we are seeing, the name and form every day. We see at home, at work, in the society, all these names and forms. But you need to see what is there behind. That is the whole spiritual practice. See the behind, like clay and parts. Without clay, there are no parts, right? But you don't enjoy clay, but when you make different kinds of part. So, but somebody to make that also is needed, right? So you need the nimitta and upadana, they call in Vedantic language. So a potter is needed to make the parts, or a jeweler is needed to make the jewels. Without that, they don't exist. But that is in the practical world. But in the spirituality, nimitta and upadana become the same. That means the one who creates, that means the universe, and the what is created, the whole universe, are nothing but Brahman. That's why we said first thing, Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. That means the whole universe and the underlying creation and the process, they're all nothing but only one thing. That is the thing, that is Triputi, all the three become one. Creation, the creator, they become one. That is the important concept. And also last week we talked about dharma. What are the various dharmas? We talked about dharma depending upon varna dharma, depending upon our aptitudes, various things, what we are. Then we talked about ashrama dharma, depending upon what stage in life we are. But the highest dharma we talked about is swadharma. What is swadharma? Atma dharma. So thinking that we are the Atman, we are Brahman, because all these words used in Vedantic parlance, different, some places they call Atma, sometimes Brahman, sometimes you call God, sometimes love, and sometimes Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Asti Bhati Priyam, so various things, but it is only that unchanging reality. That's what we should remember. And then last week also we talked about everything is Brahman, everything originates from Brahman, lives in Brahman, and dissolves in Brahman. The greatest example is a wave. A wave is, where does the wave come from? From the ocean, and rises, it exists in that. And finally it disappears in the ocean. So that is the best example. We are all different waves. Say, you can say bubbles are there in the ocean. You can say small insects, small animals could be considered bubbles and foam. So we are small waves. Great saints are big waves. Avatars are the huge waves. But everything finally is nothing composed of water only, right? Everything is Brahman. Finally, you dissolve. So we need to see how these, we remember the underlying Brahman. That is what the main emphasis has been. For that, we need to practice our regular dharma, varna dharma, ashrama dharma, so that we realize our true nature, atma dharma. So that is what we talked about. So we are going to start now on God, the Supreme Maker, the Master of the universe.
God, the Supreme Maker, Master of the universe. The cosmos is a magnificent wonder, a source of continuous amazement. It cannot but impress one as a supreme marvel, whoever one may be. When an object has to be made, we know we need someone with the skill, intelligence, and power to make it. Without a maker, nothing can be made. Therefore, how could these visible objects, the sun, moon, stars, and constellations, move and behave as they do without a designer, a maker, a master? Can they yield to any ordinary power? No. After observing the objects designed and made with such mighty capabilities, intelligent people can easily infer how immeasurable the power of the Maker himself must be. Look at the marvelous variety in creation. No one thing is the same as another. No one person resembles another. This can only be the sport, Leela, of the phenomenon with limitless glory, God. Anyone can understand that no lesser power could be the source. On the basis of the mystery that inheres in creation, one can easily infer the almighty power that created it. Those who are incapable of unraveling the mystery of the created can never unravel the nature of the creator. Thoughts were the marvelous arrangement of this universe and of the individuals, the miracle of a baby, the miracle of the universe, the miracle of earth. All of this cannot be a chance, cannot be some designer who is a mortal like one of us. It just, we have not been even able to create an artificial brain. So all this comes from someone who is really the source of everything that we see around us. And the more we marvel at the creation, the more we marvel at the creator. That's why the last sentence I really like. Those who are incapable of unraveling the mystery of the created can never unravel the nature of the creator. All the secrets of the creator, the Brahman, lies in the beauty of that which is created, but even more than that, it seems.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why Swami says we are all caught up. It is nice to see the creation and enjoy the creation. Nothing wrong with that, but always remember who is behind. That is why Swami, one time in Kodaikanal, we were there with him. He made it a beautiful diamond, huge one, and it is reflecting. It is everybody was marveling. Everybody's focus was on that. He was passing it around and just nobody was paying attention to Swami. Everybody was looking, how can I get? So then Swami says, you see, that is the whole thing is nobody is looking at the hand, the creator who made this, everybody is focusing on that. So he says, in this hand, you can make earth into sky, sky into earth. So always try to remember the creator. At least we need to express gratitude. Everything we have is because of the Lord. Because there is a theory of called existentialism. Even in our Hindu philosophy, it is there called Sankhya philosophy, where they think the Prakriti, it came like that. So, but there always should be somebody, even in a practical sense, one great literary genius, Samuel Johnson. So he was meeting one of his friends who believes in that creation came by itself. There is no creator. So one time his friend came into his room and there's a beautiful world map. So, oh, what a beautiful world map. How did it come? It was by itself. He wanted to teach him. How can it be by itself? Somebody might have painted it. See, he said there is a creator even for this world map, which is you are marveling at. What about the whole creation itself? There must be somebody who is creator. As we talked about the parts and with the potter, and we talked about the jewel, making the jeweler. Actually, sometimes here Swami talked about sun, moon, stars. One time Swami was giving a talk and said, automatic Laitulaku Adipudevadu. So Kasturi was translating. He was baffled. What can I say? Automatic Laitulaku Adipudevadu. Who is the one in charge of automatic light? This is about more than 40 years ago. There is nothing. He could not do, he was struggling. Then afterward, he asked, what is Swami? Automatic lights is sun, moon, lights, galaxies. There is nobody, they're automatic. They're always, like, nobody is not putting a switch and do that. So these automatic, who is the one who is in charge of? The very fact all these lights, everything is running the way it is in that particular galaxies is because of the Creator, because of God. So that is what it is. The whole thing is, that is why in Purushottam it said that the eyes of the Lord, the sun and moon. So, and one time Swami, went in 1968, he went to East Africa. That's the only place. And I was wondering, why did he go of all the places? He didn't come to America, or Europe, or Latin America, Russia. This is the cradle of civilization. That is where the civilization started. And particularly, he went to East Africa, that is Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania. So that is where he was really showered his grace, not only on the local people, tribal people, and then animals. So really he had the nature, went to waterfalls. And there, after he came back, and there was a celebration in reception. Those days going to out of India is a big thing. So when they came back in Bombay, Mumbai, that time it's called Bombay, there was a big celebration in receiving Swami, and they gave talks, local mayor, governors, and all that. Then Swami said, what are you talking about here? So there, Swami says, Vishwame na mandiram. He says, the whole universe is mansion. Then the Professor Kasturi, that is a very poor man, he was fired from his translation business. He said, world is my mansion. Swami says, wrong. World is your confining. The whole universe, that means we are talking about the moon, stars, galaxies. That is why, as we are talking about, the more you know how much you don't know. Really? That is why in our Purusha Sukta, long time ago, they said, Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Amrutam Dvihi. What all we see in the world, not only this universe, there are many universes. Now you go to scientists, astronomy says, what you say, not one sun, even our scriptures say there are thousands of suns. These suns, galaxies, like this is one universe. There are many universes, nebulae, galaxies, which is mind-boggling. So all this is Padosya Vishwabhutan, fraction of the whole cosmic Lord. Tripadasya Amrutam Didi. 3/4 of that is unmanifest. So that is a Brahman. So only part of this, he manifested itself. That shows the power of creation. That is why we should remember, so it is not an ordinary thing. We need to always be marvel at gratitude, the Creator, how this whole thing is manifest. And also it is said, this can only be the Leela of the God. This is like a sport. So there is said, Ekoham Bahusyam, there is only one Brahman, unmanifest. Then he says, let me myself multiply into many. There is only one. Then he multiplied. So that means we should remember everything which came out from God. That is why our Vedanta beautifully says, what came out of God has to go back to God, right? Naturally, what the water came, the waves, everything came, will go back into the water. There are certain religions, Semitic religions think there is hell, heaven, you are permanently in hell, permanently in heaven. That is not true. Here, everyone, whether it's good, bad, everybody, you came from God, you will go back to God. But only thing is when. If you are intense spiritual seeker, you may go in this lifetime, many lifetime. Bahunam Janmanam, and the Lord Krishna says. Otherwise, you have to repeat the cycle of birth and death again and again as a human being. But if you are really, really bad, you can go back as an animal. We have seen the story. You can become a goat, you can become a snake, or you can become a frog, and you can become a lizard, anything. Or you can become even inanimate like a tree, like in Gandharvas, they were Shah, and Lord Krishna releases them from curse. or you can become like a stone, like Ahalya became a stone. So depending upon how we behave, either we can become divine and just finish the cycle of birth and death, or you can retrogress into animal, plant, or even inanimate life. That is why this is the Leela of the Lord. So if you remember with gratitude, we divinize that. And another thing is the whole creation, why it is. People say why it came. They say Leela Vastakilam Jagat. That is another definition. Right? For this whole universe, it came because of Leela. Just is play, Lord's play. So somebody says, the example they give is a boy goes to the seashore, and then he was playing in the beach. He builds a sand castle, make the whole thing, and then finally he demolishes. Similarly, for him it is fun because he's enjoying it. Similarly, God, for him the whole thing is a play. He creates it. Somebody said it's a play for him, but it is a pain for us a lot of time. But if you look at everything as the divine play, then you can be a witness and enjoy. That is the whole secret is living spirituality is take it everything as a play and be a witness. So this is the nice message in here. So you can now continue, Venkat.
Yes. The cosmos, a manifestation of divine will. Creation or the cosmos is the manifestation of the will latent in Brahman. All this is God's will, sankalpa, or plan. The theorists who fame and propagate the other explanations mentioned above are only wasting their time. Arguments and counter-arguments are mere barren exercises. Or they can be pronounced as exhibitions of the scholarship of pundits or intellectual gymnastics of the learned. They cannot satisfy the yearnings of those whose minds are pure and whose consciousness is clarified. Everything is caused by the divine will. This is the firm belief of theists. Each one decides this issue from their own level of awareness. And the aphorisms mentioned these varied points of view and consider their validity. Birds fly to heights proportional to the power of their wings. So too, these thinkers gave their explanations on the creation, continuance, and collapse of the cosmos on the basis of their faith and intelligence. This is very beautiful, Dr. Reddy, because it says that there is only one Brahman. And all, like as you said, all of the variety and manifestations we see are the will, the result of the will latent in that one Brahman. And these are mere illusions. They are just creation. They are not the creator. Now, how do we see them? How we see this depends upon how much faith we have, how much we believe that Brahman is the only source of everything. So he gives the example of a bird which flies higher, which has bigger wings. And similar to thinkers who can give various explanations based on their intelligence. Here, based on our faith in that one Brahman, that is all that exists, how much faith we have in that will enable us to understand that much more about Brahman's creation.
Yes, good. So this is what we need to remember. That is why the scholarship, that is why it doesn't make us realize the true nature and understand God. All the great scriptures said, what is needed is the simple faith the Lord and live a good life. What it is. That is what you are referring to. So actually, in one of the famous one of the things about Lord Shiva, there was a beautiful poem composed. It says, "Ye Vedambu Patinchalut." I want this is a beautiful Telugu poem. It says they have a place called Srikalahasti, named after the devotees of Lord Shiva. There, It is a spider and an elephant and this man who was a tribal man called Kanapa. So they were not scholars in Vedas, scriptures, and anything, but they had love for Lord Shiva. But they were liberated, even though it was a spider, an elephant, or a snake, or the tribal person. So what is needed is that pure love for God. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, scholars are like vultures which be soaring so high in the sky, but their eyes are on the filth on the ground. So, but there are people, the saints and sages who live the life. So main thing is to live the life and know that everything happens only by God's will. Are you having some issues?
No.
Because you are looking there. So everything happens by God's will. That is the when. That is why even all the scriptures say that our scripture, not a blade of grass will move without God's will. And also we say, even without the order of God, even an ant won't bite you. Actually, there was a big discussion one time in Shri Satcharita again. So one guy says, oh, there is snake, we should kill. He says, no, God is all pervading in everything, whether it is scorpion, snake. Without the God's order, nobody can hurt you, nobody can do. So everything, and that is why even in Islam, even a dry leaf won't fall without Allah's will. And even Bible, same thing, even a black hair you cannot turn into white without the order of God. So everything is only by will of God. That we need to make sure whatever happens, happens by the will of God. Without that, nothing will go well. Like as you said, blade of grass won't move, or a leaf, dry leaf, even dry leaf won't fall, air won't turn. So we need to, there is a beautiful story in Kenopanishad. I think you should read, all of you. So there is a fight always between good forces and evil forces. That means devatas and demons, gods and angels. Gods finally won. But the one is good, but they become egoistic. I see, we won. They were celebrating Indra and all the other gods, the Agni, Vayu, Varuna, all the gods they were celebrating. So God, who is Brahman, he could be in the form of mother or father, anybody you can teach. They want to teach a lesson. Suddenly in front of them, this huge light appears. They said, who are you? So they says, he doesn't answer. It is actually Uma Haimavati that is manifest in that. So he says, who are you? Just say. Then he says, test me. Then he says, Lord Indra sends this fire god, Agni. Go and ask who it is. Who are you? You know, he doesn't answer. Do you know who I am? I am fire god. I can burn anything in a trice, even big forests I can burn. Okay, she put a blade of grass, burn this. And tries, nothing, can't even touch, just a blade of grass doesn't. Goes away. I said I failed. Then he says, go, the Vayu god, the wind god, don't do that. Who are you? I can blow away even big trees, forests, and even towns, everything. It's just like that. I can do that. Okay, she put the blade of grass, blow it. Couldn't do that. And then comes Varuna, the rain god. So what can you do? I can drown anything, wet anything. It is nothing. So just do this. He couldn't. Then they get humiliated. Then Lord Indra himself goes. He says, that is why it's Kena Upanishad. Kena means by which. So the power of which makes you burn, the power of which makes you wet, the power of which makes you blow. So then they get humbled. They realize, yes, we succeeded, but because of the blessings of that almighty power, the blessings of the mother. That is why this Kena means by which everything happens. Like you might have seen people, they have eye. Looking at it, it looks normal eye, the cornea, but they are blind, they cannot see, because the power with which you can see is that there. You can give an example like light bulb is there or a fan is there. It may look, but without that electricity, it is just defunct, right? So same thing, all our eyes, ears, instruments of speech, whatever it is, that power, kena, by which all this is working. So that is what the learning lesson for the gods, demigods, and they learn the lesson. So we should remember everything is a manifestation of will, and only it happens, everything, whatever, through the power of the divine. That is what we need to remember. So this is the very important. The whole thing is constantly remembering this is divine will, this is divine will. Okay, you can continue.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Reddy, that is so beautiful. And Swami, in one of his Guru Purnima discourses, mentioned this analogy of a curtain. One side of the curtain is Brahman, and on the other side of the curtain is the manifest world, your manifest universe. And the cause is on that side of the curtain where Brahman is, and the effect is on this side of the curtain where the manifest universe is. So all these scientists and people try to make sense out of the universe, making laws of physics, laws of motion, laws of this, based on only this side of the curtain. They are not realizing that everything originates at the other side of the curtain.
That's a good point. Actually, there is a beautiful Telugu poem, because there are some Telugu speaking in our group. Enjoy that. I said, Kanula kagapadu drishyambu kanchi meeru satyamani madinenchaka sambramamuna teranu dagina satyambu telusukonaga vishraminpaka natoda vedalirandu. He says, Kanula kagapadu drishyambu kanchi meeru satyamani, because whatever you are seeing, we think that is true. Swami says, teranu dagina satyambu telusukonaga. One, as he was talking about, the truth behind the curtain, to know that Vishramimpaka natodi vedalirandu. Come with me. But how? Vishramimpaka. That means you can't take a detour, stop, okay, I'm busy with this, I have to go to this party, or I have to go to this place, I just have fun. So just, you need to have that intense Vishramimpaka, without stopping, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. This is what Kathopanishad says. So you need to tread, so move on. So till you reach the goals. He says, Vishramimpaka natoda varadirandu. So just don't think, just enjoy it, but see behind this whole thing is that ultimate truth. For that, we need to hold on to Swami, follow his teaching, and tread the path. That is the point.
Indicative signs are inadequate to describe Godhead. But as evidence or proof of this inquiry, at best, one can depend only upon indicative characteristics, which cannot take us far. Only the genuine characteristics can reveal the truth. These are truth, spiritual wisdom, unlimitedness, satyam, jnanam, anantam. The genuine nature of Brahman is truth. The eternal is. As we had one in our previous study circle, God is, the eternal is. It is the universal consciousness, jnanam. It is everlasting beyond time and space, anantam. Moreover, these characteristics are immanent in every entity, living or non-living, in the universe. Indicative proofs are temporary signs by which one can identify something or person one desires to know. For example, when the moon is just a little arc in the sky and one desires to see it, a person indicates it by pointing a finger towards it. Or when one desires to look at a particular star, a person says, there, just above that branch of the tree. But the moon is far away and the star is much farther. At the moment one expressed this yearning, it could be seen just above the branch, but that is only a temporary location. Soon the location changes. The finger can no longer be correct, for the star or moon moves across the sky. And it reminds me, Dr. Reddy, of one of the stories. You mentioned it once, and I'll say it again. In Arvind Balasubramaniam says it happened to Satyajit. I'm not sure who the person is, but he was going in the car with Swami, and said, Swami asked, what would you like? And he said, I want to see your Vishwarupam. I want to see the entire glory of God, the universal form of God. And Swami rolled down the car window and pointed out to the grass and the stones and said, see, that is me, that is Brahman, that is Brahman, that is Brahman, that's Brahman. God is all pervading, means that Brahman is part of every creation. And everything that we see, that we indicate, that we use our senses to measure or senses to experience is all Brahman. And that Brahman is only one. And that's why Swami in another discourse also said, science is for the senses. We only can measure that with the senses, which is temporary and things will change. But the one unchanging in all of them is the Brahman.
That's a good point. That is what they experience. Yes, I remember that Sachi shared that. And Swami many times said, so that don't seek God, see God. Like in the Bible, Lord Jesus says, he says, ask and it shall be given. You should ask God, God will give you anything. And knock and it will be open. You knock the door of God, he will open it. He will take you in. And then seek, you shall find. Seek the truth and you will find. But Swami said, don't seek God, but see God. Because everything, whatever you see is really God. We are really confused. We are not seeing. It says, Anu Vanuvu, Kana Kanamu, Kshana Kshanamu. Everything is Brahman. That means every atom, every cell, every moment is permeated nothing but the divine. But because of our ignorance, we are seeing it as not divine. So, but there is, which don't say that this doesn't exist. The world, universe exists, but wear the glasses of love and you will see everything as love, like the Gopikas did. Or wear the glasses of jnana, the like Ramana Maharshi or Nisargadatta Maharaj, a great many, Adi Shankara, a lot of great jnanis, then you will see everything is Brahman. Ultimately, the truth is because we have a faulty vision. That is why Arjuna in the whole in the scene of the Kurukshetra war, everybody was there. So everybody was same Lord Krishna, but he gave that cosmic vision, Vishwarupa Darshanam, only Arjuna was there. And also they said Hanuman and then Sanjay Sahib, because he says, Dadami Divya Chachu. I am going to give you that special glasses. Like some places you go, some movies, you need to wear special glasses, then you can see that various dimensions. Similarly, to see this cosmic vision, that whole thing is nothing but Brahman, you need that special eyeglasses. So that God will give you, but for that we need to have these qualifications we talked about, Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhamadishat, Sampatti, and Mumukshatum. Once we have those qualifications, he will give that. So everybody, if you want to enter in the theater and want to have glasses, you need a ticket and all that. Similarly, to get this vision, God will give it to us, but you need to have that deserving qualifications, then you will enjoy the beautiful cosmic vision all the time. That is why people say, oh, I can't do self-inquiry. Even I told that to Swami. Even Lord Krishna, he says, Dadami Buddhi Yogam. What will you do that? Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Dadami Buddhi Yogam. Buddhi Yogam is what? Be able to see everything as God. How will you get? So I said, Swami, you said that self-inquiry, who am I? I am not this body and I am not this mind. It is good time-tested method. But sometimes when we have body consciousness, it is hard. Then he says, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Always think about me. Satata Yuktanam. Always. How? Priti Purvakam. With love you think about me, I will give you Buddhi Yogam. But that if you do it all the time with love and one-pointedness, we will get that experience. And we have seen that repeatedly. So many great saints and sages over time have experienced. They saw everything as nothing but God. Actually, Lord, Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna said a beautiful story. So then once this man who knows everything is Brahman was going, and then some these bad guys, they found him. They want to steal. He didn't have much. He's a monk. So they beat him because he didn't have anything on him. They beat him up. And then this guy fell down, chased Ram, 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 Ram. Then after a while, some people found, oh my God, this is such a nice guy. Somebody beat him up, and then they tried to help him, pour some Ganges water and try to revive him. Then somebody said, who hit you? They asked, the one who is pouring water. For him, the one who hit is God, and the water pouring is God, and then the one who is saving is God. That kind of, even one Kanan God Ramdas, same thing. One time somebody, the thieves came and took away. So he says, who came? God gave it to me, all these things, and God took it away. So that kind of attitude they develop, everything for them is Brahman. That is the ultimate stage where they don't see anything different. Because for us in the beginning, we say this is bad, good. So somebody beats up, we will want to react. Somebody is there. But there, they see nothing but God because they have that permeated with the divine love all the time. They have that experience of Brahman consciousness. So we can continue next week. Sai Ram, and I will see you next week.